Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to Altcoin Buzz Trading. Today we're going to be discussing Bitcoin and how to draw diagonal trend lines. We're going to go deeper into that. As the market today, I do not believe is really conducive to any great longs or shorts. We're very choppy since we've really failed to go above this 28,100 level. This market has stagnated, and things that were bullish are no longer bullish, and things that are bearish are somewhat bearish, but we're not dropping away dramatically to cause us to get into any major short positions, and we're definitely not bullish enough to take any long. So we're going to do education today. All right, but first we'll look at BTC just to give you the update here. Bitcoin came down yesterday, found support at our 27,289, and then proceeded to bounce, find immediate distribution, and then we've been underneath that point this entire time, moving down a little bit right now, and you can see we're getting bought up just a little bit at the moment. I just don't think this is a good trading environment. I think that this is good for waiting. If you have long positions from lower, there's no problem there, but anything newer is in danger. Now, as long as we stay above this inclining trend line, we'll be okay. We have a few days to kind of wait for that to happen. Bitcoin going sideways through it is not a problem. Support of the 27.2 is good. Going through the 28,100 is much better. And we just have to kind of wait until we get there or see more definitive bottoming action before we get really excited. But right now, there's neither of those occurring. So we're abstaining for the most part. All right, let's get to trendline education. I actually like doing these. I think they're really fun. And I think the way that I draw trend lines versus how other people have drawn trend lines, I don't think a lot of people do it effectively. Mine have, at least to me, proven to be very effective. And the reason is because trend line drawing should stay with price action. You'll see a few rules out there. A trend line has to have 3 touches and a bunch of other rules, or it has to be to the close or it has to be to the wick. For me, what a trend line represents is just the general trend. I try to get to the truth of what the trend is. I try to stay close to the price, because if you're close to price, you're closer to the trend. You can't draw a trend line too far away from price action. It just doesn't work very well. So we're going to redraw this trend line here. All right. And a couple things to keep in mind, like I've already told you, you want to stay close to price. Another thing is you want to try to find a definitive swing high. So here's a swing high. It's a high that stands out by itself like a mountaintop, or a swing low, right? Depending on what you want to do. So I'm just going to draw the definitive swing highs and swing lows. You can try to draw trend lines on. And these would be those lows. You're asking yourself, well, why not this high? Why not this low? Why not this low? The reason being is because just from my experience, I can tell that this isn't going to get hit, okay? Now, early on, you could draw that trend line before this one shows up, but this comes up and supersedes it in terms of the angle, okay? So let's back up a little bit. I'll get rid of my circles and we'll actually draw this thing. Now, because we're in a declining situation, for the most part, I only want to draw a trend line on the top of it. Things that are moving down will eventually break to the upside, and that's what most people are looking for, okay? They're looking for the upside break. So we're going to go to the very top. We're going to click our trend line, which actually, if you don't have your favorites up here like I just grabbed, you can go to the left sidebar, grab the trend line. If it doesn't show this trend line icon, you can click on the caret next to it. It's a really, really small one. And then you can click trend line. Click on the top, and now you'll have a free floating right side of your trend line. You want to go all the way over, and keep in mind, we're only interested in this area here, right? So we're going to come all the way down, and we're going to find where we hit a line, and I'm going to click. And that's going to solidify my trend line. So now we have a trend line. Well, let's examine this a little more closely. So this is good. We're pretty close to price action. It can definitely be better. So on top of being close to price action, you want to also reference closer price action, or later price action, or earlier, however you want to say that. Price action closer to where we are in time, closer to the right side of the chart. You want to give that more weight. So we have two peaks here in conflict. This is the one that we hit. This one's really close though. So what do we do in this circumstance? In this circumstance, what we do is we actually ignore the earlier peak, because we're only going to come down a small amount, and it's really less relevant because this is an older high. So what we're going to do is move the trend line to the next peak. Bam. A very simple move. We give up a little wick here, and that is okay. Some people are going to say this is blasphemy. This isn't valid. Well, my whole point with trend lines is that I just want to stay with the price action. That's it. I'm not going to give myself any crazy hard and fast rules about, oh, this is not a valid trend line because of XYZ. If I say something's not a valid trend line, it's mainly because I think that the trend is garbage, not that the line is necessarily garbage. One more thing, and I'll let you guys go. There's also a battle between, does this have to go to the wicks or does this have to go to the bodies? Well, in this particular situation, I do believe this is the right angle for the trend line, so I'm just going to move it till I hit a body. So right about there, I hit this middle body. Okay, now you said, well, Randy, you want to reference this more. Well, if we're going to closes, we got to respect the close. So this is where it is. If we go to the body of that close, we'll be a little bit closer, actually. It's not a bad thing to do. And we get this close too. But generally, I try not to keep bodies above the trend line. There will be extreme circumstances. So for instance, up here, I kind of had a horizontal like this because this is a bit of a unique circumstance talking about bodies of candles because this was a quick reversal and it was an outlier in compared to the rest of these highs. So we spike up, spike up, spike up, spike up, and then we move up higher and then come down lower. But in reality, this is still just a spike. So I kind of include it in the spike. That's the only time that I will really let an actual body of a candle stay above my trend line. So I would much rather prefer this. But we're talking small ball here. But these are some of the nuances that you should be considering. But the general point is that if we break out from around this area here, we're going to be changing the trend of the market. And that's exactly what happened. And so this is a bit of a primer into how to draw these trend lines. So I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know what you think down in the comments below. And tomorrow we'll do some more trend line drawing analysis if the market is still garbage. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thanks for joining me today. I'll see you tomorrow on Altcoin Buzz Trading.